The biggest storyline in the NASCAR world over the past couple of months has been Kyle Busch and his contract negotiations. His contract's up at the end of the season. He does not yet have a contract signed for 2023. He has been with Joe Gibbs Racing for over a decade. He has had most of his success with the Joe Gibbs Racing, but have those talks potentially stopped? I don't know, but there are some people within the industry that think that it could be that way. So yeah, we'll talk about that here in a minute, but let's talk about some of the teams he's rumored to go to. Well, we'll talk about that specifically more later, but of course there are rumors, people speculating, making things up, whatever it may be about where Kyle Busch could go. SHR, that is a legitimately reported, like apparently Gene Haas was at the track talking to Kyle Busch or something like that. So that is like a legit possibility, him and SHR. SHR has an open seat right now if Eric Almirola does truly retire. And if he unretires, then the 41 could potentially be a possibility if they kick Cole Custer out. So Stewart-Haas Racing is an option for Kyle Busch. They have the money. But yesterday, Tony Stewart said that he had some big announcement, okay? And yeah, he said it was for the fans. He did like hashtag IndyCar, hashtag NASCAR, hashtag World of Outlaws. So... and then posted a picture of him with his 2011 championship winning car. So my first thought was he's going to do one last joyride in all of his championship winning cars and like at a racetrack, and the fans are going to have an opportunity to see it. Then my second guess is he's returning for one race in each of those series or something. Then my out of the world, not going to happen because it just doesn't make sense with this post, was maybe he's announcing Kyle Busch. Well, it ended up being Tony Stewart making NFTs. NFT, more like no freaking thanks. Am I right? Haha. Oh my gosh, society. Anyway, so that ended up being nothing. Then Colleague, yesterday, they did a little clock emoji for 3 o'clock, and they said that, everyone's like, oh, well, Colleague, what if people think that he could be talking to Colleague? What if he goes there? They have an open seat. It's only a part-time seat right now. What if? And it was an announcement for Justin Haley in the Xfinity series. So, yeah, two of the teams that were rumored to have Kyle Busch, they acted like they were going to have these big announcements, and then it ended up being nothing. One of them ended up being, then the other one just ended up being Justin Haley to Xfinity. Anyways, yeah, let's talk about the juicy stuff, the fruity stuff, the fun stuff, the spicy stuff about Kyle Busch. So, if you are not aware, there's a podcast out there made by Dale Jr.'s kind of media thing that he has, like where he does his Dale Jr. download. There's another podcast called Door Bumper Clear, and it contains the spotters TJ Majors, Brett Griffin, and Freddie Kraft. Freddie Kraft is the spotter for Bubba Wallace. Brett Griffin, he is the spotter for Justin Haley, and then TJ Majors, I believe he is the spotter for Brad Keselowski. So they are all industry insiders. They all work in the Cup Series, very close to Cup Series teams, are close with Cup Series drivers. So they are well within the industry, and they know stuff. But, they dropped some pretty big bombs yesterday. I don't know if they're true, Hold on. It doesn't mean it's true. It's not 100% true. It is not confirmed by any big reporters or anything, or by teams, obviously. This is just speculation or what they've heard. But we are going to talk about it because it is kind of a big deal. They said something like Chevrolet has, with Kyle Busch, they said Chevrolet has entered the conversations. One Ford team is talking to him, and Joe Gibbs has potentially or essentially stopped talking to Kyle Busch in terms of contract negotiations. So, what does this mean? That's a big deal. If this is true, it is a big deal because that means, in my opinion, this is my opinion, that Joe Gibbs has stated, he has talked to Kyle Busch and said, here's your option. You can do this or it's nothing. Like, we'll let you walk. Like, here, this is your option. We're going to give you this much money. We can't find a sponsor for you, so we're going to do this. Here it is. That's it. There's no wiggle room. You're not going to get more. Like, this is it. Kyle Busch a couple weeks ago said he's willing to take a pay cut. So maybe it's within that pay cut range, but maybe it's more of a pay cut than Kyle Busch wants to take. Kyle Busch, of course, is one of the highest paid drivers, if not the highest paid driver in the Cup Series. Two-time champion, big personality, attracts a lot of attention just because of how successful he is. And then obviously, so every once in a while he gets in a fight and that makes the headlines. But he's obviously a very quotable driver, says a lot of funny things. He's always a media sweetheart. But anyways, Kyle Busch, of course, he demands a lot of money, and he has built the reputation, and he deserves it because of all of his success. But the issue has been because of money and also sponsorship. Joe Gibbs Racing has not been able to get that sponsorship for Kyle Busch after M&M's and Mars announced that they were going to leave Joe Gibbs Racing at the end of 2022. So they had to fill that gap because that was a big chunk of financing for Joe Gibbs Racing, and specifically to pay Kyle Busch. And now they don't have that money. They almost got Oracle, but Oracle pulled out at the last minute. They now sponsor Red Bull Racing in Formula One. They are the title sponsor of that team. So yeah, they have not been able to find a sponsor, and that is why they can't pay Kyle Busch. And this is why Kyle Busch is potentially talking to other teams. So in my opinion, we're going to go manufacturer team by team, what I think could be happening, whatever. I know nothing, but if this is true, this is how I'm interpreting it. So with the Joe Gibbs Racing thing, I genuinely think that things have completely changed with the injury of Kurt Busch and Ty Gibbs getting in the car. With Ty Gibbs getting in the car, in the 45 car, that is a competitive car. They have shown speed, and they showed a lot of speed this past week at Michigan. And Ty Gibbs has not done a bad job at all. His first career race was at Pocono, one of the most difficult tracks to drive, and he had 0 on-track time with the next-gen car. He raced the Xfinity race, almost won the race, but with the next-gen car, it's a completely different car. It drives different. The gearbox is different. Everything about it is different. The braking, the accelerate, everything is different, the next-gen car compared to the Xfinity car. Ty Gibbs was informed the night before the race, had 0 laps on it, had to do a simulator run at 1 a.m., go back to Pocono from Charlotte, I believe, and he ends up getting a top 20. I think he got 16th or 17th. So that's a very impressive Cup debut, to have 0 laps under your belt with a brand new race car that is nothing like the current car you drive, and you're not even 20 years old. That is extremely impressive. Then the next week at a road course, he got another top 20. And then this week at Michigan, he qualifies 11th and he gets a top 10 in a very good car that had very good speed, and he got the most out of it. He had to overcome a pit road penalty that was self-inflicted by himself, yes, but when you're young, you're going to make those mistakes. Ty Gibbs has shown that he can drive a Cup car, and if you give him enough time, he will improve. So only 3 weeks in, we've seen 2 top 20s and a top 10. So the more time that Ty Gibbs gets in the car, the more time he has to show that he can do something, the more time he can show his talent and skill level in the Cup Series, and he can impress his grandfather, Joe Gibbs, and everyone else at JGR, the more entertaining that option will look to Joe Gibbs, the more that number goes down on Kyle Busch, because Ty Gibbs is a cheaper option. Kyle Busch, it's taken him years to build up that contract, for years to build up that amount of money that he is worth. Ty Gibbs, as successful he's been in the Xfinity Series, he's not getting that kind of money years 1 through 5. If he goes on a tear and wins 3 straight Cup championships or wins 30 to 40 races in his first 5 years, yeah, then he's probably going to get that money after that first contract. But because he's only been in the Xfinity Series, sure, he has been extremely successful in the Xfinity Series. He has like 9 wins in his first 40 starts or something. Yeah, he's been extremely successful, but the fact of the matter is that's the Xfinity Series, this is the Cup Series. He's not going to get the money that Kyle Busch demands, and Joe Gibbs may see that and say, Kyle, we love you. We love what you've done for this organization. You're our most successful driver. You've won us 2 championships. You've won us a butt ton of races in the Cup Series and Xfinity Series, but we can't afford you. We don't have the sponsorship to back you up. We're going to have to go a different route. We're going to have to let you go. We're going to bring in Ty Gibbs. That's very much a possibility. Joe Gibbs is going to do everything in his power, I think, to keep Kyle Busch, but the fact of the matter is, it sounds like that Joe Gibbs has left basically an ultimatum, like, take this or you're gone. He's not firing him, no. It's just the way things have gone in this contract negotiation, it's not looking like they're going to be able to agree on anything, because one side is going to be left very unhappy. The other side is going to be satisfied, and you don't want that. So, yeah, that's the side of the Joe Gibbs thing. And then as for the Ford team, it's pretty much SHR. He's talking to SHR. It's no big secret. Gene Haas was at the track a few weeks ago talking to Kyle Busch, reportedly. You know, Tony Stewart, he's all about getting a wheel, man. Kyle Busch is a wheelman. That's no shock. Him and SHR, that could work. The only problem is SHR isn't as competitive as they once were. They aren't as winning as they were 2 to 3 years ago, and that could potentially hold back Kyle Busch. I think if this was 3 years ago when Kevin Harvick's winning 6 races a year, and then, you know, the other cars are getting maybe 1 or 2 wins a year, I think that'd be very entertaining for Kyle Busch, and he would have already taken that offer if we're being honest. But with how the last 2 years have gone with SHR, only 3 wins in the last 2 years, I think that hurts why Kyle Busch has not exactly jumped on that offer yet. But with Kevin Harvick getting a win this past weekend, showing that they can still win, they now have 2 wins on the season with Briscoe at Phoenix, Kevin Harvick now at Michigan. Maybe that completely changes everything for him. As for Chevrolet has now entered the conversation, apparently. I was looking at this, in my opinion, I thought it was JGR or SHR. People have said 23-11 if Kurt suddenly retires. I honestly just don't see it. I don't see Kyle Busch going to 23-11 even if Kurt does retire. It's possible if it was a last resort and he had no other options, I could see it. I think McDonald's would be willing to sponsor him a couple of races. Obviously, the Jordan brand. You know, maybe he puts his own energy drink Monster or Rowdy Energy on the hood a couple races. I don't know. But it's tough. He would get to keep that Toyota alliance, so the truck team would get to stay Toyota, and that would solve that complication. But I just don't see that as a long-term solution for Kyle Busch. So I don't know about 23-11. But as for Chevrolet, this is very interesting. Colleague, I think, is an option. The problem is in the Cup Series, they haven't shown it yet. Justin Haley's in the 20s in the standings. The other car is a part-time basis car. But it does have a win back in 2021. AJ Allmendinger, he did win at the Indianapolis Road Course. Then you look at this past week at Michigan, Noah Gragson drove up into the top 5. Strategy shuffled him back a little bit and he crashed, but they did show some speed. And Colleague does show speed every once in a while. The problem is they aren't established enough in the Cup Series. They are not showing that speed and winning speed now. And I just don't see it. Whereas SHR, they've been developed. They've been in the Cup Series for a number of years. They're a championship-winning organization. They have still won races. Even in their bad years, they are still winning races. Whereas Colleague, they're still a fairly new Cup Series team. They've only won 1 Cup Series race. And one of their cars, while it is a full-time car, the drivers are part-time. So that would be a very shocking thing. Petty GMS, I don't think, is in the question. They're announcing their driver tomorrow. So if Kyle Busch is going to Petty GMS, we will know tomorrow. But that's going to most likely be Noah Gragson. And as for other Chevy teams, I don't think Hendrick is an option. Kyle Busch and Hendrick Motorsports, I just don't see them getting back together. It was not a pretty ending 15 years ago when Kyle Busch left. And it was just not a pretty ending. Rick Hendrick didn't like Kyle Busch at the time. Kyle Busch was upset that he was getting booted out. It just was not. I just don't see that relationship getting back together. Yes, Kyle Busch has matured a lot since his time at Hendrick Motorsports. Maybe Rick Hendrick regrets kicking him out. Maybe Rick Hendrick, Jeff Gordon, they regret the way that whole situation went down. But I just don't see it happening, to be honest with you. But one team that I think could shock and sign Kyle Busch that is a Chevrolet team is Trackhouse. Trackhouse has shocked us before. Last year we saw they needed 2 charters. Sure, they already had 1 charter for only 1 year with Daniel Suarez, but Justin Marks wanted to expand Trackhouse. He wanted to get a second car, and he also needed a charter for the car he already has. So do you know what Justin Marks did? Out of nowhere, there was no rumors, no reports, no speculation of this at all. He went out and bought longtime team Chip Ganassi Racing. He bought them out. He bought their charters. He bought their organization. He bought their shops. He bought everything from them. So no one saw that coming. Justin Marks has shown if he wants something, he will go and get it no matter the cost. He has Pitbull on his side. That is a very, very financially good thing because Pitbull has made himself some money in his music career. And if he is truly about winning organization, a championship winning organization, Kyle Busch would be the perfect addition. Look at them right now. They have a championship contender in Ross Chastain. Multiple wins on the season, has been consistently up front. Sure, he's ruffled some feathers, and that may cost him down the road, but take that out of the equation. Ross Chastain is a championship favorite. Even with that, Ross Chastain's a championship favorite. Daniel Suarez has won a race. He is in the playoffs. Daniel Suarez, I don't think he's a championship threat, but he has shown winning speed outside of that one win. He has shown speed at the Coca-Cola 600. He has shown speed at other road courses like COTA. So Trackhouse Racing, it's not like one guy, one car, Ross Chastain is fast. Daniel Suarez is fast as well. If they can find a way, if Justin Marks can push and somehow find a way to get a third charter, I think that is a very possible option to get Kyle Busch. They have tons of sponsors over there. I'm sure they could find more sponsors over there. And I could very possibly see Kyle Busch going to Trackhouse. But the thing is, there's no reports on it. There's no talks of it. So it's a long shot, I think. But I honestly could see it happening. So where do I rank options? I still think he stays at JGR, even if it's a one-year deal. I still see that being the best option for him. Let this whole sponsorship negotiation, get it pushed back to next year. Give yourself some more time. But if he does leave JGR, I think SHR is the top option. They have the money. They have the funding. They have the open seat now. They can make an open seat if necessary. And then the next best option, I think if there was an open seat at Trackhouse, I think Kyle Busch takes it in a heartbeat. But just because they would have to go through the process of acquiring a third charter, having to push for that third charter, pay for that third charter, and having to pay for Kyle Busch, it's a long shot. But I would not go to sleep on Trackhouse. Justin Marks, if he wants to get something done, he will get it done. So I think he could very possibly shock the world, get something done, sign Kyle Busch. So yeah. Kyle Busch rumors, they're still going everywhere. We have some industry insiders saying that potentially talks between him and Joe Gibbs have stopped, that talks between him and Chevy have potentially started, and that him and Ford are still talking. So it's getting more interesting by the day. I don't know what's going to happen. No one knows what's going to happen, but I feel like one of these days it's going to be a morning or afternoon. No one's going to expect it coming, and he's going to drop the bomb of what he's doing in 2023. But let me know what you think Kyle Busch will be doing in 2023. Will he stay with Joe Gibbs Racing? Will he go to SHR? Will he go to Colleague? Will he go to Trackhouse? Will he do something shocking? Will he return to Hendrick? Will he go to Rick Ware Racing? He's not going to Rick Ware Racing, but it's a fun thought. Anyways, if you like this video, make sure to leave a like. We talk about NASCAR news all the time here. Sometimes we talk about rumors with how big of a story this is. And, you know, with some legitimacy coming from guys within the industry, we had to talk about this one. But let me know what you thought. Subscribe to the channel. As I said, we talk about NASCAR all the time. So if you want more NASCAR stuff, we'll talk about it. But have a great rest of your day. We'll talk about the Petty GMS announcement tomorrow. They're announcing their drivers. God, if it's Kyle Busch, I'm going to laugh so hard.